Hi guys, we're back.
I think the lights.
And if you'll go ahead talk, but while you're talking, I'm going to jump up. We've never done this before. We're going to start with an amuse-bouche,
Really?
an appetizer.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like amuse-bouche.
Wait, what was the? I've not heard that.
An amuse-bouche.
An amuse-bouche.
Amuse.
Amuse-bouche.
Yeah.
He's a very
Is
fancy
that a,
young man.
is that a French term for appetizer?
I don't know. I think so.
And
one
that
way to
shows you
find
the
out.
difference from his fancy background and me. I would have said we've got appetizers because my background goes to like Chili's.
no,
and
I-
The
Applebee's.
difference between somebody who eats at a fancy French bistro and enjoys
Exactly.
the finer
And-
things and somebody who eats at Applebee's.
Hey, and you know what?
off the children's menu.
He may not.
Hey,
be
you know
mine.
what? That was well, we didn't have Applebee's when I was a kid, but when I was a kid, if I was able to go to the ground round, that was a treat,
Oh,
man. That was
is that
a
where
big
they
deal
had
for me.
the?
You know,
peanut
this is
shells on
so.
the floor?
This happens so much. When was the last time the name Ground Round came up in your presence?
When
Because for me, it was last night.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that
well,
weird?
Brody wanted me recently to retell the story of how I was permanently banned from the ground round. But why did it
See
come
a
up last
pattern.
night?
I don't remember. Somebody said they loved eating. Oh, somebody said they loved eating there, and we talked about it. And then we got to the peanuts
Yeah, on the shelves, right on the floor.
on the floor, and which Texas Roadhouse still does, which is surprising.
Yeah.
But the person I was talking to, and I've mentioned this person to you before, their kids did this exposure therapy to peanuts, and they were very, very allergic, and now just eat peanuts.
Really? Well, you know what I saw?
And it works for adults.
But you know what else just came out too? And I was because my son has a peanut allergy.
That's why
But they now have a new thing that was approved. You don't need an EpiPen. It is just a nasal mist. And I thought, well, geez, a nasal mist is so much less invasive
It is.
than an EpiPen.
But instead, when he graduates and moves back here, take him to this doctor, and then he'll just eat peanuts.
I feel like he's gone so long, so disciplined in avoiding peanuts. I don't know that he would ever trust it.
He doesn't have to.
I wouldn't mind him doing it just to mitigate the risk.
That's
Right,
exactly
that's
right.
right.
That's all it is.
but
Because
he'll never trust it.
he doesn't have to.
Has he
but
ever used the EpiPen?
He's never needed to. He has had to use Benadryl. If you catch it early enough, the second you detect anything.
Is the EpiPen a big shot in the thigh?
Yeah, it is. We haven't had to thankfully use it, but he's had a few reactions.
Isn't that funny? Shots in an odd place are so much worse.
Ooh, I got one in my
I think
buttocks
they all are
once.
terrible.
What do you mean once? When I was a kid, that's the only place they gave me.
Well, it was stay on mic, but
and they were these big penicillin shots
Yeah.
that looked it was
we
going to
got
come out the
penicillins.
other side.
There you go.
They were huge.
No, I only had it once. It was a gamma globulin shot I needed when I went to Costa Rica many years ago.
Yeah.
But that's the only shot.
Even
in the
as an
buttocks I've
adult,
had.
and they gave it to you in the buttocks.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Wow, how do you like that? Nowadays, it's all the arms.
Where's the weirdest place you've had a shot? In your rear end?
Yeah.
Well, what would be? Oh no.
I've had one in
Priapism?
my knee.
Oh, okay. That
Well,
makes
you
sense.
know,
which was not pleasant.
it's wow. It's everything's like I
Oh,
feel
you know
like all
what?
these
I
things.
actually had a shot inside my nostril just last Friday
Yeah.
when I had that
That's gotta be
sinus
painful.
procedure.
I had a
that
shot.
was painful.
I had a shot on the end of my.
Oh God.
You know, I'm glad you took it there because.
Are you? Because we're going to introduce
Here's
the
why.
foot-long sandwich.
I don't want to know why you had that.
No, I did.
And maybe we'll edit that out. But in fact, maybe we'll just beep it.
Why?
But
It's a odd place to
yeah,
have
then
a
we
shot.
can move on
That
past.
was what we were discussing.
Listen,
and
we were all
I-
circumcised.
and
it wasn't
you were
that
discussing-
big of a leap.
You know, emergency room doctors.
Don't you want to hear more about it?
I don't.
How do we hear less?
yeah.
Is there a way to turn back the hands of time?
It's
only.
it's a
You know,
wonderful story. Yeah.
In the like Viagra commercials, they say,
Yes, if you've
if
had
you
a-
have erection lasting more than 4 hours, seek medical attention. So this is like the kind of thing ER doctors. There's a few things like this where, they keep track of who did it last time, and it's your turn next.
You're up on the.
And you like have to give the person, I think, just a shot or maybe even withdraw some of the blood or anything.
Ugh.
Yeah. So being an ER doctor,
go back to
I
the
think,
moosh boosh.
which is a small,
Boosh.
bite-sized hors d'oeuvre, French.
Well, that-
Yeah, well, we're
Let me
going to
get
have
them.
that. I should
Boosh.
let everybody know that the place we're featuring today, I've never heard of before. I'm very excited about it. Is it Zanti's? Is that how we're pronouncing this? Zanti's, Zantis. And they must have some affiliation with a place called Roberto's, because I noticed that the marinara sauce on these
Roberto?
sandwiches is Roberto's marinara, and the plastic bags that they came in had Zanti's on
Interesting.
one side and Roberto's on the other.
You
Now-
could have been
A detective.
You could have been a detective.
I feel like that would have been a good job. But don't they make you work your way up the ranks
Tell us
before
what
you
these
get
are,
the
Ed.
fun job? These I was interested in. They call these
Goons.
They are the goons. These are smoked buffalo chicken dip goons. I like them because I kind of envision this is their version of Goons. If you've ever been to Cyberg's,
I have.
they take sort of a fried wonton and they fill it with buffalo chicken dip.
You'll see exactly why it's a goon.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that. It really does. And I guess the goon is sort of like a crab rangoon, but
Yeah.
instead of it being crab, buffalo chicken dip
Yeah.
smoked.
I would.
Do I need to
guess.
dip it? Should I dip it?
I don't think you have to.
I'm going to take
It's perfectly creamy. I mean, it's a crab rangoon with buffalo chicken instead of crab. Actually, that's the scam. There's no crab in crab rangoon. My daughter, my oldest daughter, for
Wait.
many, many years.
You don't think there is? In that, you don't,
don't
think
think
there's
so.
crab in that
Imitation crab?
no,
pasty
I think
filling?
I don't think so.
I thought so.
Oh,
They want you to think so.
these
You're
are
falling
terrific.
into it.
I could make a meal out of those.
My oldest daughter forever thought it was crabber and goon. And she's like, I like the crabber better than, or I like the goon better than the crabber. She thought the crabber was the inside and the goon was the outside.
Well, just think of all of the money you're going to save not having to send that one to college.
That's right. Do you know? Oh, you do know.
Those
What
are good.
4
That's
years
a
of
nice little
college
start.
costs right
Yeah,
now?
How much tuition at Minnesota?
Well, you know, I don't know tuition-wise. Brody's there, and he got an academic scholarship for some of it. But when you add up the tuition, the room and board, the travel, it's
Wait,
about,
doesn't he get in state?
No, it's Minnesota. We don't have Minnesota.
No, but he has a year-round place to live there.
No, I mean, I don't know. I guess we could have looked into it. It cost me about $85,000 a year, all in with travel.
That's
books.
ridiculous. It's not worth it.
It is. It's crazy. My
Yeah,
first
wow.
year at the University of Wisconsin was like $2,000 a semester or something.
Things have gotten nuts.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of that had to do with the University of Phoenix because that online, they
Yeah.
were very expensive because they worked the system with student loans. And everyone's like, you're charging $20,000 for that shitty place and getting loans. And so all the other universities increased their price and figured out this loan deal. It all was, I think it was the banking industry largely responsible
Do you
for
think
the increase
it's harder
in
to
tuition.
get a job if you are like Phoenix? I noticed there's a
Yes.
Arizona School of Nursing now. Off
You
the
know,
highway, there's.
Honestly,
Well,
I
sure.
don't.
It depends on what
do
you're trying to
do
do.
you think those people are competitive in the job market with a degree from an online?
I
school?
think
Depends
it
on
depends
what
on,
job.
the industry they want to go into. I think it depends on their first job.
I got to get a sandwich.
Yeah, get one of the first ones. I know for here, let's be honest. What you're mostly paying attention
Excuse me.
to.
He does not mean that we have never been honest with you up
But-
to that
But
instant.
if you're out there, if you're in a
I
position,
think whenever you say that,
Yeah.
that's the first thing people.
well,
think.
because I think when it comes to hiring, and I think a lot of people out there, if you've ever hired people, you're judging first of all a lot based on what their most recent job experience
That's right.
is. How relevant is it? How good were they at it? How do they interview? Did they look like they'd be a good fit? You don't go back enough, and then you certainly at a certain point in time, you don't go back into where they went to school and how good their grades were. We probably should, but we don't.
Lawyers do though. I mean, you know where they
We
went
don't.
to law school. I'll bet
Do we?
you. I would.
Depends, like-
we used to ask. I mean,
Oh, we
years
ask.
past.
It's on the resume,
The
but
vast
and it
majority of the
doesn't
lawyers
mean
in
much.
St. Louis
Well, and-
went to SLU.
and the irony is,
Although somebody a person who goes to a really good law school
like Wash
does
U.
stand out. Not Washington U as much.
Why?
Even though we went there.
I know, but it's a top 20 law
It
school.
is, but we're more familiar with it. In other words,
You
you'd
just
be much
mystify
more-
things
No.
of names that you grew up with. You
Right, right,
take away from it because
right.
you live near it, but it is a
Exactly.
top 20 law
I
school.
think
No,
I think the
it didn't
difference.
used to be, actually.
But it,
I think
but
it
it
still
is now.
is.
It's number.
You think it's a top 20?
Well, it's not according to me, but it's just every ranking that's out there.
So Ed thinks it's worse than the rankings, but
No, I'm
you
just
know what
saying every
happens in
ranking
St.
puts
Louis?
it in the top 20.
Like University of Chicago would mean more to me.
it would mean more to you because
it's a great
you've
school,
been
and
sort
I'm
of
not,
conditioned.
right.
I mean,
But that doesn't make
But-
it true. Like
yeah,
Barnes
and I mean,
Hospital.
WashU undergrad is better than University of Chicago undergrad. WashU undergrad's number 6 in the country.
I don't know.
Barnes
I don't know.
Hospital. You grow up here thinking this is a good hospital.
That's a
Everyone
top
tells
6
you that.
hospital in the country.
And like when you talk to, I've talked to friends who are doctors out of state, and they're like, no, that's not just a good hospital for St. Louis. That's a good hospital for the world.
Right.
You know, and I think you don't realize
You're
it
spoiled
because
because
it's
you
just
were raised next to it.
No,
How could
I'm not-
something that great be right next door?
right.
What's interesting though is like Harvard, Yale, stuff like that. Those really do
Those
have-
mean something to
Yeah,
you.
they really. Well, yeah.
Although,
Every opinion I give is just my.
I know, but
opinion.
you know what? And maybe at some point in time that meant more than it does now. I
Oh,
think
you don't think if somebody comes in
It
and went to
means-
Harvard Law
it means
School,
something.
that's gonna.
I'd say, what the hell are you
that-
doing
I
here?
guess the difference is that I know too many people personally that have gone to those places,
Who?
and they're just not impressive.
You knew somebody who went to Harvard? Well,
Of course, my first fiance went to Harvard Law School, and,
did you really?
I mean,
I
let's
know
just say
people
this.
who went to Harvard.
and she's a smart woman, but there's not a person in the world that wouldn't rather hire me as their lawyer than her, including her.
That's what I was going to say. You always hear the statistic.
What
there
is
are
that?
more CEOs.
This is their sausage and peppers sandwich. This looks, first of all, it looks beautiful.
There are more CEOs that went to the University of Wisconsin. I don't remember the statistic, but it's like than all the Ivy Leagues combined.
What is it about sausage and peppers that's almost always good?
I think it's the sausage and the peppers.
A little onion.
I wonder. I wish I
Bread.
could have gone to Harvard Law School for a week. I'd just be wondering what's it like. You know, are they really? Or is everybody that much brighter?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I suspect
Of course,
that
you're
you
my son,
could
You didn't tell me anything.
travel to Boston and go to Harvard Law School for a week.
Yeah,
you
go
wouldn't be
on.
enrolled, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing after the first class, you'd decide you wouldn't want to be there for a full week.
Very likely. Did you enjoy law school at all?
Sure.
I mean, I found it stimulating.
I love law school.
It was better than
Oh, for
any
you,
other
it would be perfect.
school I went to.
I loved it. A lot of people talking, arguing. What? I got food?
You'd love being a Talmudic scholar. Because I think, you know, I didn't
do
realize
like. I was a
this.
philosophy major, and yeah, I do like sort of talking about the big questions of life, the big philosophical
You like
questions.
little ones, like how many stitches in a circumcision? What is the ideal number of stitches?
I could talk about that too.
I saw something about
I like
the
a wide
Talmud
range of
recently that I didn't really understand what it was.
I would think that's
And
that, along with everything else you've ever heard about the
yeah,
Talmud.
but it was in the context of people were taking things from it and saying, "Oh, this is so horrible that this is in the Talmud in the Jewish religion. This is disgusting." And what I didn't understand is apparently everything they debate is, and I don't even know what the Talmud is. It's 1,000 books or now a database, but it's essentially people throw out controversial topics just to debate them, I guess. And just because it's in there doesn't mean it is the position of the religion. It's just a topic that has been debated, and often they came out on the side that you would agree with. But when you take it out of context, oh my God, look what's in here. No, this was just
And
a
that's the thing, is a lot of philosophy is like that. A
Yeah.
lot of the old philosophical books were written as conversations back and forth between various philosophical
But
positions.
remember, all those people back there, by today's standards, were barbarians.
Yeah, so
I mean,
we're
they-
still
they be- they
barbarians.
belie-
I hate to tell
but,
you.
but way more,
Jen.
way more than now.
Jen, is there any
You know,
chance
there are
you would
people
run?
that had slaves. There are people that death, life wasn't precious very often.
Oh, can
I
you
mean, they-
imagine
they-
how much
they-
pain people were
yeah,
in
they-
the
they
1400s?
lived a life you couldn't imagine.
Like your tooth broke, it just stayed that way and got infected. It must have been, they
Yeah.
must have drank so much.
Well, thank God for ibuprofen.
Yeah. Hey, Jen, will you
that
do me a
was a
favor?
good invention.
Will you grab my cell phone holder on my desk, please?
I mean, when you think about in terms of good
Don't give me that
inventions-
janky one next to Steven.
And we were alive for ibuprofen, right? That's not like that doesn't predate our. I remember
Really?
when Advil came out.
I don't
what was
remember.
it about 1982?
Well, maybe.
Well, maybe it was the brand that came out,
You
but
know
I
what?
would be.
I don't think so.
I didn't
think
realize
like
Ibu-
Motrin.
But you didn't
Well, maybe
have-
in the over-the-counter version, but like Motrin and Advil. Look that up. When did that become
I would.
available?
You remember the Tylenol thing in the 80s,
Of course,
right?
yeah. Well, with the cyanide, the poisoning there,
Which
that
is
was
crazy.
horrible.
I guess before then, for people who don't know, there was somebody who was taking Tylenol off of shelves and putting basically cyanide in the pills, or somehow cyanide
maybe
pills,
6
and
people died,
yeah,
8 people died.
And before then, that was the beginning of safety tamper-proof seals. Before, you could just go into a store and open up a bottle of Tylenol, which is
crazy?
crazy to think about.
And you know what's
crazy.
also interesting? That was for most people at this table a time with very little pain. In other words, 20, 30 years ago, you had probably no pain compared to what you have now. Because
Oh,
as
no,
you
of
get
course.
older,
You mean
As get
because
older,
we
no.
were young?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, yeah. Physically,
you know,
when you're young, you
when
have
you
very
live in
little
a
pain.
world without real
No,
pain,
just
in the
just
really-
emotional pain, the pain of being bullied, the pain of heartbreak, but nothing that's going to be cured with a Tylenol.
You know,
maybe something that would have been cured by
Were,
the
were you
cyanide.
bullied a lot?
Of course.
I don't have a lot of pain.
You know something? I don't think I was bullied, and I don't think. Were you bullied? You weren't bullied.
I mean,
Maybe
What would
Sam
he,
was.
What would he have been bullied for?
I mean, you know, I'm just saying.
I mean,
think,
I don't know that.
Sam, I could see maybe because he was a little shorter. You know, some people might have picked on him for that.
But I
was
never-
a heavy kid. Heavy
Yeah.
kids are always bullied.
You know, also, I think
really?
Clayton, at the time at least, it was a small school and you knew everyone. I don't know. It just didn't.
And people
I'm
were-
sure there was clearly bullying,
but
obviously.
the parents were pretty nice. I mean, it was a group
Yeah.
of people that did not condone or encourage that kind of behavior.
right.
People were pretty kind. back then.
Yeah,
There were a lot of old hippies. You know, I mean,
I know, but kids, you know, what goes
Oh,
on
they-
at
they
school
do.
when the adults
You
aren't
can't
around.
control your kids, although I think kids were more controllable.
see,
back
your
then.
problem was that you were a fat kid like I was.
Yeah,
I was fat,
a heavy kid.
but you were short.
Well, all kids are short,
No, but I was always a big kid. I was tall.
but not until you hit puberty. I mean, all kids are short until you get to puberty.
No, I just was a bigger.
I haven't seen any pictures. I've seen pictures of you as a kid, but I haven't seen any pictures of you prepubescent. You're gonna have to bring some of those in. I need to see an 8-year-old
I'll have-
Terry Crew, but I've seen you like in high school
Let me
playing
tell you.
football, and you look like what I would expect you
when
to
you
look like.
when you
a little
have
thumb
when you have parents who were not
with a chicken fajita sandwich.
Yeah.
they did not have. There's only 10 pictures of me up to the age of about 40.
Oh, there are only
Well,
about
that-
100,000
you're-
pictures in the world back then.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. You know what's crazy is like, I would love to even have one short video of me playing like Little League as a kid. And the kids today have every at bat they've
Yeah.
ever had. Like they could watch their whole life from beginning
No,
to
you're
end
absolutely
almost
right.
in real
It's
time.
crazy. They
What
will
do you,
be
what do
able
you
to
think
go
the
back.
impact's going to be of that?
That's actually probably one of the most positive impacts. Although the sad thing is as soon as somebody dies, all their pictures go, nobody rescues them. There's no repository for them. Whereas with, printed out pictures, somebody died, you'd have them all, you'd sort through
Yeah,
them.
but how long does that last?
What do you mean?
I-
See, they're
when-
putting
when-
it on gravestones now with a QR code, and you can look at people's photos.
Yeah.
You
That
can,
won't
but
last.
people don't generally archive them or do anything with them before they die. So, I don't know.
I came across a Crouppen family film of ran about 8 minutes, and
Is it that VHS tape where you
Wait.
accumulated a bunch
I'm
of
going to take a
films?
guess that you were bored out of hell in about 2 minutes.
oh no, I was. Are you kidding? I got to see my mother and father moving around.
Oh, wow. Wait, where's that?
I don't even know anymore. But then in the
Seems
middle
I
of
would have
it,
put that somewhere safe.
in the middle of it, you do put things safe. But when you move a couple times, things just get lost. And in the middle of it, I'm seeing my mom and dad, and then the camera abruptly changed to a rodeo. We're in Tucson, Arizona, and we went to a rodeo. And whoever had the camera had the belief that we would never in our life be able to watch a rodeo again. So he turned it away from my parents, who I wanted to, my God, I wanted to just see
Yeah.
him. And I'm now watching, of the 8 minutes, I'm watching 6.5 minutes of a rodeo. It's just, people just, anybody who takes any pictures, today especially,
Yeah.
that aren't of people, and take pictures of landscape, stuff, it's crazy.
That's true. Let that be a lesson. If you get nothing else from today's podcast, and
Yeah.
so far, I think you're not getting anything else.
Well, especially like the people on 4th of July who record the fireworks show. Moron, turn it around and record your kids or yourself.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and 8 other morons recorded
Yeah.
the fireworks.
Yeah.
You're
Like you'll,
100% right.
Oh my
All the-
God!
all-
And there's nothing worse than watching a video of fireworks this big.
have you been seeing any of these drone shows?
I have not seen one live.
I haven't
No, but
seen
have
one
you ever
recently.
seen films of them?
Yeah,
They're amazing.
I've looked into it a little bit. We should do one.
I mean, how this is not.
I will say
Replacing
this, though,
fireworks.
but I'm guilty of the same thing. If I'm, what you just said, because on the first trip to Disney World, I did get a lot of footage of my son, but I have a video that literally is just the whole ride of It's a Small World. Not my kid's look of wonder as he saw all of these little animatronic creatures from around the world, just literally the ride, which I had already been on
Not only
a million times.
Not only the ride, but it's Brody.
Brody, dude, I can't see the little wooden Asian boy.
Yeah. It's, I
What's
have
wrong with us?
Move out of the way. Holland is coming.
Yeah, we don't want to miss this. They've
We'll
got
never
wooden
see-
clogs.
We'll never see this again.
That's crazy. I remember, what is strange about that phenomenon, and I think it's maybe why It's a Small World hangs around as such a legendary ride, is I remember being on that ride, at 6 years old, first time I was in Disney World with my family, my parents, and they were married, my brother and sister. And then you go years later with your own kids, and it's basically the same ride.
Identical.
And then your
And-
grandchildren.
Yeah, and then you like that to me is a special kind of extra magic. There's certain things
continuity.
the continuity. It's like
And then
you're having that experience.
That's why they'll
that
never
I
get
had.
rid of it. Probably.
Right.
It's just
and they shouldn't get rid
and
of
then
No.
eventually with your hospice nurse.
it. Bring her on.
that's right.
And then you get to that point where you don't even remember
That
it.
Terry-
chicken fajita sandwich was very, very good.
Delicious.
I didn't
Terry-
mind it wasn't on a
Terry,
tortilla.
get up. Help him up so he can see. We're at that Holland thing that he loves so much.
Yeah. Oh, that's just
Where
how.
are we? What are we doing?
You want to
We're
take a
in
little
Holland?
break before we have a sandwich? I can tell you something.
Yeah, dude, let's do that because these are delicious sandwiches so far. By the way, I've never been to this place.
Let
It's in
me,
South County
Let me pull up my quote here.
on the Concord Plaza.
Do you have a quote?
I do.
And the
You?
63128.
Yeah, it's a follow-up on a previous segment. And the quote is, "For the record, Ed's bathroom is not always perfect. I mean, it's not a gas station bathroom, but it is certainly not perfect. Why would I clean a perfectly clean bathroom?"
Who said that?
The person who cleans your
Okay,
bathroom.
now let me say this. As you know, I'm very limited about who I allow use my personal bathroom.
Who do you? Is there a list?
The list, it was me
No one.
and my son when he was here interning with me over the summer. He was allowed to use the
Wow.
bathroom.
Are there any other people? on
No,
the-
there's nobody else on the list. Now, I will say that if the bathroom was ever in a minor state of disarray,
Oh, you're blaming throwing your son
listen,
under the
and,
bus?
and Brody, I know you watch this, but I think we can agree, and I've talked to you about it. He is one of those people that lets the toilet roll, the paper, it flies like a streamer. I don't know how that happens. I mean, I usually just pull a few squares and pull it, and he seems to do one of those
We talked
things.
about this last time.
Yeah, he does the full yank, and it's like he's
Oh,
TPing.
Oh, not the full yank.
Yeah, and it TPs. So my guess is if you follow back up with the person who does service the bathroom, I think that's the observation you're going to see.
Interesting. She had more to say. Some of it was not
If
appropriate.
there was any, again, and I don't know if it's splatter or spatter, but again, that would be Brody.
Interesting.
I don't think there's such a word as spatter.
No, there definitely is, because Dexter
I
on
think
the
isn't
show
there-
Dexter was a blood spatter analyst.
Or splatter.
No. 100% wrong. He was a blood spatter analyst.
Well, why leave it to chance?
Look that
Let's
up.
see.
I've never heard of the word
No, I'm so
spatter.
excited about him being wrong on this, because we had a word debate a week or two
That's
ago.
interesting.
And he was also completely convinced. And I don't remember. I didn't make that.
Spatter. Cover with drops or spots of something.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow,
so
again,
you throw
I
your
can't
son,
wait till this becomes an isolated clip that we put all over the internet.
throw your son under the bus. Now,
It's a very listen, and I say this, you should take this as a compliment, because if I was always right and Terry was always wrong, where's the satisfaction in that? There is none.
Where's the comedy in that?
Exactly. The only thing that makes it satisfying is those rare opportunities. Just like when you find one of
Splatter.
my black holes, how satisfying it is.
So wait, so what is the definition of splatter?
well, only one, I can just add an L there.
Are they what would that be? Synonyms?
If they have the same definition.
Splash with a sticky or viscous liquid. God, that just sounds disgusting.
Yeah. Why use the word viscous? What a bad
Why?
word.
What was the other
And
one?
isn't all liquid viscous?
Wait, what?
Viscosity is just a measure
yes,
of
yes.
the thickness. So,
Everything has a viscosity.
Yeah.
although is
exactly.
viscous mean it's thick? So you can't. Water can't splatter.
Sure.
Of course.
And
Water-
water
It's not
has
particularly viscous.
not
It's
particularly
very low
but remember
viscosity.
that doesn't mean it. Yeah, but having a low viscosity
you
means
have-
you have some viscosity.
No, but I feel like when they use the word viscous, there's some implication.
It's an odd word choice for a
Yeah.
definition. Usually, definitions, they try to keep the word simple. They don't make it so that you
Yeah.
then got to look up the word within the
Eh,
definition for
look
another
up.
definition.
Is there anything with no viscosity?
A liquid with no viscosity.
I don't know how that would be.
We got to go
That's-
down that
Is
that's-
there
rabbit hole.
a
And while you're
non-viscous liquid?
and while you're looking that up, let's talk about whether there are any words in the human
Whoa.
language that you hate.
What?
I know a lot of people don't
Oh.
like the word moist.
Oh,
I don't
hold
mind the
on.
word moist.
Water is a non-viscous
There
liquid.
you go. So you cannot.
So water
you
cannot splatter?
You cannot splatter water
I
by
disagree.
definition. That seems very odd to me.
Wait, milk is viscous? They're saying, so yes, there are non-viscous liquids, which are liquids that flow easily and are not thick. Water is a good example of a non-viscous. Other examples, fruit juice, milk.
I think this is a poor definition.
This is yeah.
I don't
it's
know.
very
Let's see where it
interesting.
comes from.
Do you have any words that you hate, like you cringe at the sound of?
No, like I'll give you the one. What's the most
a
hated
lot of people
word?
say moist.
Yeah,
I have no
stupid.
problem with it, but I do have two words
Yeah,
that I cringe at whenever
I
I,
hate
hear
exclamation points.
the words. I know you hate those, but that's a conversation for another day. Punctuation.
I like ellipses.
Ellipses are good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't even know what they really.
little-
No.
Yeah.
Ellipses just dot.
Yeah. You like those little things?
I think it. I feel it makes
It
you.
use
suggests
it.
there's more coming.
I think it makes you look profound.
Okay.
know
Well,
about all
for
that,
me,
but-
here
It
are the
does.
two words I can't stand. They
Yeah.
make me cringe every time.
Well, just give us a hint. Let's see if we can guess it.
One of them begins with the letter D,
Dead.
Diarrhea.
and it has 4 syllables.
Diarrhea.
That's not the word. I'm not a big fan of that word, and I can never spell it correctly.
It's hard,
It is a hard word to spell.
but it is viscous.
Forget it. I have no idea.
Decapitate. Decapitate is one of those words. It just makes me cringe.
What
every
about
time I hear it.
internal decapitation? Even
Internal?
worse. Yeah.
What is that?
I wouldn't even know what that is.
Internal decapitation is basically
A pregnant woman?
no. What is a
because
pregnant?
the baby could get
Because the baby
decapitated
could be
internally. I know what he was talking about. It's disgusting, but I got it.
Decapitation obviously is when your whole head is cut clean from your
Yes.
body. I think internal decapitation is when your like spinal cord insides are severed, but your head remains on your body.
Oh, I don't.
I find that less. I mean, it's still horrible, but at least the body remains intact.
Well,
The other
externally.
word that I have a problem with begins with the letter P. This one's easier. See if you can get this one. One syllable.
Podiatrist. Oh,
Plum.
one syllable.
No.
Poo.
Nope.
P.
Did you
This
get it?
is
What'd
a-
you say? Nope. But you're close.
Plum.
Pus. Pus is one of those horrible words.
Are you
'Cause
confusing?
Every time you hear pus, you immediately envision
Infection.
pus, and it's gross.
Yeah, but I think there's a difference. I think the people who don't like the word moist, like just the word itself creeps them out. Like pus is gross.
It evokes a visceral reaction.
Yeah, but the word doesn't bother me.
It does, though. Decapitate and
Do
pus.
are you a
I don't like mucus either, but that's third. That's
Are
a
you a
third.
person, you know how there are people in this world who love
Pus.
to pop pimples on other people? Hence
Yeah.
the pimple popper show.
They have a lot
I
of those
was
things. People
very
find very
early
satisfying.
watching Pimple Popper.
You were watching pimple poppers when there was no internet.
But do you have?
You were just popping your own pimples and watching it.
Is
You're
there
disgusting.
is there a point where it's too much?
Of course. The
You know,
moment
I mean,
you started
and
it.
you keep watching.
And well, you do, but it's something. There's to me, there's just enough that it's really interesting, and then sometimes it gets so disgusting.
yeah.
You watch those videos where the hydraulic press comes down
Yeah.
on like a... How satisfying are those?
Like a
great.
can of tomatoes.
Those are good. I like the ones where it's something relatively soft, and you're like, what's it going to do with this? And it gets all the way down, and then it comes all the way up like big strands of
Can
noodles.
you imagine what that show's like in really shitty countries?
What's that like?
Oh, look, we're going to
Whoa, wait.
we're going to put a baby's hand under the.
That's
Oh, God.
God, that's horrible.
That is horrible.
All of the things that come out of his mouth started in his head.
Why are the Muppets
Please send
doing
funds.
this to Muppet children?
No,
you sounded
wouldn't it-
like a Muppet.
in a really
you know,
shitty, brutal country.
Yeah, I get
Then
that.
listen, you gotta go
Maybe
with
in
what
a
you
dark
have.
movie.
Have you seen? All right. Have you seen?
You need the Tor browser to watch
Do you
it.
ever follow the videos that take those scorching red hot
Yeah.
balls? The red ball. Have you watched the red ball experiments?
They'll take a steel
Molten
ball.
lava red hot ball.
Yeah, heat
Oh,
it
and
till
they'll
it-
put it in ice.
like a
on
yogurt.
anything. They'll
Yeah.
put it on top of anything to see what it does to the
I'm
object.
always surprised it's not more violent. Like the glass explodes or something.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, for me, give me 40 falls in sequence. People on bikes.
like people
You're old school.
I really.
You're a simple man.
Oh, when
So you like fail army.
I like fat people swinging out over some
Right, thinking
crappy
that they're gonna-
lake on
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what I think
they
about.
can never hold on.
Here's what makes to me.
Why don't they know they can
know-
never hold?
they don't
You would think
understand
they would know their
physics.
It's that
limitations.
snap.
It's
Yeah.
the snap. They don't understand the physics.
Yeah.
First of all, and I think, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I'm fairly certain that mathematically, if you're over 185 pounds, I do not think that you can physically pull yourself up in a certain way. I don't know
No,
if you're
that's
capable
nuts.
of doing it. Yeah, I'm sure there are exceptions to it, but as a general
probably
rule.
the better rule is less and less people can do it
But
as the
your
weight.
strength
increases.
to
the
weight
point
ratio.
Is, but the point is that the reason I think Fail Army is enjoyable is that you're seeing, and this is my definition of bad judgment. When you talk about people that have bad judgment, it literally is people who can only envision something coming out the one way that they're picturing
Yeah.
it, the successful
Couldn't
way.
possibly go
All
wrong.
of the other things that could happen, they're totally blind to. That is the definition in my mind of bad judgment.
what
How could you not
percentage-
have seen this?
Let's eat another sandwich. Oh, by the way, Denise had one more thing to say.
Oh my.
Now this is really big, actually.
Okay.
Really big. I'm making a very big announcement.
And it had
Alrighty.
nothing to me. I wasn't in your bath.
She said to me,
Okay.
and I quote,
Okay. Oh Jesus.
Let me hold your hand.
Yeah.
"No, it's not what you think it's going to be.
All right.
For the record,
Okay.
I'm okay with us getting a soft serve machine." And I said to her, "Are you
Okay.
saying
That's
that?"
not related to my bathroom, and my son is not the soft serve
No, no.
machine that she's referring
And I
to.
asked her, "Are you talking about that as just a person who likes to eat soft serve, or are you talking about in your professional capacity as the person who would be
Recognizing,
responsible
yes.
for cleaning the soft serve?" She said, "I will clean the soft serve machine."
That is a team player.
That is it, but that is big,
But
big
you know what?
news.
Let me tell you,
'Cause
and-
you
and-
know I have a little bit of an obsession with soft
I
serve.
know you do, and let me say this, and it shows you how you have great members of an organization at every single level. You know,
Oh, I
Denise
love
is
Denise.
a superstar here.
She is.
And you get that. You have some people in your organizations that, and you love them because of their work ethic, because they're old school, because they see something that has to get done, and they just do it.
Yeah.
They don't sit there and ask. They don't wait to be told. They don't wonder if it's in their job description. They don't wonder if there's anything extra in it for them. They're part of an organization. They see that it has to get done,
see the
and they
need
just
and
do
they
it.
do it, yeah.
Remember when you used to do that experiment? Terry used to drop like a little piece of garbage on the floor, and he would see how many people would walk past it and pick it up or not pick it up.
I'm not saying I never did that.
You did do.
I don't have any memory
Well,
of
don't
ever
do
doing
it
You
at
did.
my house
and
because
you would
it's
say
not getting
now
picked
sometimes
up.
you would say like if they clearly didn't notice it, you didn't hold it against them, but you were just always curious like
I didn't.
who took enough pride in the fact that they're part of this organization
always do.
to recognize that if they see it and it's garbage and it doesn't belong on the floor, obviously it's not in their job description, but do they have pride in where they work? Do they pick it up?
Can I ask a
And
question?
Denise meets that description.
Absolutely,
She is
she does.
really.
and we have a lot of people
I
that
love
do.
Can I
Denise.
ask you
Yeah,
a
she's one of
question
them.
about soft serve?
Yep.
Can you get it in flavors
Yes.
other than chocolate?
Yes,
Vanilla,
absolutely.
strawberry, twist.
No,
Did
no,
you
no.
get orange?
Yes.
No. Well, that's sherbet, no.
Yes,
No,
absolutely.
it's just a flavor.
Orange ice cream?
Yeah.
part of
I guess like a dreamsicle. Yeah, you can
I
get
mean, I don't
orange.
know why there isn't orange ice cream, although I guess
They are the
somewhere there
dreamsicle.
must be.
Well, let me tell you
Creamsicle,
something. I'm
creamsicle.
not the only one with this soft serve thing. Well, you'll notice that there are
You
fancy
can't just leave that in
restaurants,
front of you. Start
No,
slicing.
I'm
it up.
fancy
sure there's a lot
restaurants
of people.
where there
Is this
are.
the Italian fatty?
I think so.
All right, this one I
You've been
need
waiting.
to read the description on
Well,
this. This is the
this
one.
a meatball? I can't.
No,
tell
but
what's
see,
going
there's
on here.
meat. There's regular. There's one that's just meatball, and then there's the Italian fatty.
Okay, I
which is-
think this is the fatty.
Okay, well, the Italian fatty has got meatball.
Oh yeah, there's pepperoni.
There's mozzarella sticks. There's pepperoni. There's salami. It's on garlic cheese bread. I mean, this thing is like a work of art. This is a special treat. You can't eat this sandwich
This is a
every
nice
day.
sandwich.
It'll put you in the hospital. But if you eat it just once in a while, you could just be a very happy person.
So,
Oh, she's gonna get special
like,
footage
there's a
of this
place
one.
I know. They have like a
at
matcha soft serve.
There's
I ate
a
at a place
place I
called
know.
Esca last night, owned
that's
by
that-
Mr.
that
Ben
Ben-
Paremba.
You know him?
I've met him a few times.
Boy, he's opening a lot of restaurants.
He is. He is. And he has like it's
Yep.
just a vanilla, but I think it's a recipe he came up with, as opposed to just like probably the vanilla you get
It
at
used to
many
be-
places that's
Who
just
was the guy
chemicals.
that used to be a big deal in St. Louis.
There are a lot of them.
No,
Gerard Kraft.
yeah.
He still is.
Parumba, would you say the George or
No,
Kraft of today?
no. I think there's room for both of them. I think they're their own. I think they're very different and both very, very well regarded, and rightfully so. They both.
Is he from St. Louis?
Who? Ben Paremba?
Yeah.
No, he's from Israel.
How'd he get here?
Airplane, presumably.
I think we should touch on a couple, and I know that these things air not always exactly when we shoot them. A little time goes by. But St. Louis,
really, really good.
delicious. We did lose a legend this week in St. Louis. Ted Drews, Jr.,
Oh, did it? Wait,
passed away. I think he was 96 years
was he
old.
the Ted Drews?
Well, he was 96, so he's clearly been there his whole
Right,
life.
but did he
was he
start it,
the
or
Ted
did
Drews?
his father
Yeah,
start it?
Ted Drews.
His father may have started it, but if you're 96, you grew up in that business, you clearly have been working there for 90 years, you probably since you were a kid. So
I wonder when
whether
it started.
Whether he started, well, you can look it up.
Was it around when you were a kid?
I can tell you this, and for those of you who don't know, since you mentioned soft serve, but the concretes that Ted Drews served up, they invented that. They invented it before Dairy Queen did, and Dairy Queen very openly and honestly admit that they went to Ted Drews.
No one bought it from him?
They saw how they did it.
Stole.
Yeah, they saw it. They were impressed with this thing where they would do it and then always turn it upside down to show you that it was still solid.
That it was
And
concrete.
because there was a local guy here who had 26 franchises of Dairy Queen who saw it and said, we need that. That's going to be our next thing.
They'd
And
be out of business.
They convinced the heads of Dairy Queen to build these machines, and they needed a ton of them to outfit all of the locations and to offer this. And the Blizzard was born. But the Blizzard literally was Dairy Queen recreating the Ted Drews concrete. So that's legitimate. Look the story up if you don't believe it. But yeah, he was a legend. Everybody knew him. If you've gone to Ted Drews any time in the last for me, the last 30 years, you know just who we're talking about. We lost a legend. So-
Founded by his father in 1929. So it's been around for 90.
Right. So his entire life.
Can you
It
imagine?
was around.
In the Depression, this was probably the highlight of people's day.
Yes, and you know what? And it was probably because of the Depression that it probably took off as well as it did, because in that time, things like candy, for example, candy exploded in this country during the Depression because it was viewed as a very cost-effective way to get a lot of calories into your body. So for your children, if you could fill them up with calories and sugar, that was viewed at the time as good nutrition, and it was very cost-effective. And it's also why a lot of those early candy bars were named after things that sounded like money, things like Payday, things like a Fifth Avenue bar. All played into that concept. It all came out of the Depression. Also, another good announcement.
Yeah.
I don't want to embarrass you, but worth noting, he would never say this himself, but last night at the St. Louis Headliner Awards,
I had a stomach problem.
the St. Louis,
wrong.
the St.
That's
Louis
not what I
Post-Dispatch announced our very own Andy Crouppen as the best attorney in St. Louis. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
And
Yes.
I don't want to embarrass you, but the same organization awarded you with, and I don't know the exact wording of it, so please tell me.
It was just best social media star. But I think winning best attorney is a little bit more important, as we are a law firm. And if you're going to hire us, I think you'd like to know that we do feature the best attorney in St. Louis.
You know what, actually? I think if you look at it and how we approach the business, they're equal in some ways, because we always say, because I think the social media star, I look at the client service part of it. You know what I mean? It's the bedside manner that comes through and how we treat people. And I think you got to be a great attorney, and you have to have a great bedside manner and treat people well. And I think that's the sort of yin and yang of the business.
Well, and I guess the more important thing is that we thank you guys out there, because this is a reader's poll. And
Yeah.
a lot of people out there read the Post-Dispatch.
And
still our leading newspaper.
for those who have noticed, Ed has a tattoo or two on his body. The man who did, I don't know
Almost
if it's the
all of my
vast
work.
majority or
Almost
all.
all.
Almost all.
Was it the big man or the small
the big
man?
man. Yes,
big
Matt Thornton. I was very excited for
What's
him.
the name of his place?
Amore Tattoo. They're at Hampton and Arsenal. He won Best Tattoo Artist
Yeah.
in St. Louis, and that actually meant a lot to me personally, because
Well, it validates the quality of your work.
and he's a gentle giant. You know, he's 6'7", and he's covered in tats. And to look at him, you would think he's this intimidating guy, but to get to know him, he honestly is just this one of the sweetest guys, a gentle giant. And he said to me before he even won the thing, he was just like, I've never won anything my entire life. And I thought, man, you don't really think of it like that.
Yeah.
We've gotten lucky. We're in a profession that loves to give itself
He
awards.
won the respect of Ed Herman.
That's
well,
right.
I'll tell
We
you.
had that before
Well,
last
yeah,
night.
he did.
Well, that's
but,
what I'm saying.
But to see him win that, that was a nice moment. Sometimes I think we take for granted, because we have been very lucky, and we've gotten a lot of good recognition, and that's a wonderful thing. But I hope everybody at some point gets the opportunity to get appropriate recognition. I know you're all out there working hard at your jobs, working hard as parents, and I wish everybody got the opportunity to get to feel the way he got to feel last night.
That's nice.
Well, wouldn't we be a nicer society, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think the desire to be recognized or appreciated, to be understood, it probably even supersedes the desire to be loved. Thoughts on that?
Probably part of the same thing. To be appreciated is to be loved.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's right.
Let me ask you a question. Do
hit me.
you tattoo aficionados? Is it tats or tattoos? How do you, when you're talking about your tattoos, are they referred to as tattoos?
Depends
or
on the person.
Yeah, I do.
tats?
I
mean, what are
I do
most
both.
people?
Now, I was trying to convince Matt to get a mobile unit
Tat Matt.
and call it Matt's Tats on the Go, and do how they do dog grooming in those vans. And I
Yeah.
thought, we could get you outfitted with everything you need on a mobile van.
Yeah.
You could work festivals, and there'd be a line out the door. You could be tatting people all the time.
Yeah,
you could
but
do private stuff.
Doesn't it take a long time? to
Well,
do
you
it?
would do. I think what I've seen when they'll do that at festivals is there'll be a selection of
Exactly.
a
That's it.
handful of tattoos you can get, that are simple, that they can do quickly.
Yes, or you could get them, at your home, like the way you do a dog groomer or car detailing.
Right, you could book it. And that's way it's a little more private. You don't have to go
Folks
in
out there.
Do they have to? They must have to have real drawing skills.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
These are
but
the,
in other
you know who becomes great tattoo artists? You know them from school. They're the ones.
Yeah.
They were quiet. They were always doodling in their notebooks.
That's right.
Every so often you'd look over at their doodles.
And you're like, whoa.
And you're like, yeah, those doodles look like they came out of a comic book.
So if you, but could somebody do it by just, copying? You know what I mean? Could you
the
take
thing is,
a
you
tattoo?
could do the outline.
Yeah.
But the art of the tattoo is the shading. Yeah. It's knowing how to make the thing pop. For example,
and you can't even do the outline.
I had the Batman villains from the old TV show put on the back of my right leg to finish out that leg last week.
The legs done?
Yeah, the right leg, the upper right leg. On the front of the upper right leg, I've got Batgirl swinging. I've got the old Batmobile. And I've got Batman and Robin punching with all of the
Lot going on.
exclamations around. But on the back of the leg is a little, almost like a totem pole of the Joker and Catwoman and Penguin and the Riddler. If you look at that one, the outline most tattoo artists could do. But when you see the shading and the way the Penguin's hat pops,
That's where the art is.
Three-dimensionally, and knowing how to blend the colors just right, that's what separates them. But this town, I will say that, and they are a good community of people. They last night at the event, because there were a lot of other people nominated in the individual category and for their shops, they're a tight community. They seem to know each other. They
Birds of a feather.
They are, and you know what? It's a great community.
What's the
I
name of
find
this
them to
place
be-
again? This is really a hidden gem. This place
Zanti's.
is great.
Zanti ''S. Zanti's Deli. I don't have the address is 181 Concord Plaza, St. Louis, Missouri, 63128. I'm even going to give you their web address is zantisdeli.com and the phone number 314-270-3175. So you have that. And we want to hear feedback from you. We've covered a lot of things in the news. We've stated some opinions.
We're working our asses.
We've covered a lot of things. 612 all fours. Let's get some feedback.
I'll feed.
I want to know
feedback on this sandwich. I mean, and this is going back to the pizza thing last week, where I tell you, I think in St. Louis, it's a weird town in that it feels like people stay in their municipality for the most part. And there are these hidden gems. In any other city, driving 15 minutes to Zanti's, everybody would know about it. Everybody would go there. But here, it's like local to their municipality, that area of
What
St. Louis.
municipality is it again?
63128.
What's that?
It's like Sunset Hills, probably.
Is it?
Yeah, but the pizza. So there are all these pizza places that are enormously revered, but it seems again in their communities,
Yeah,
and that
very
we're
small.
no
That's
longer.
why we're doing the Lord's work.
We are about to go to those pizza places.
You got to expand your food horizons because life is hard, and one of the little joys that we get is eating. And this kind of food, it's not fancy, and it's not that expensive.
Working man's food.
It is.
Good.
Yeah, which is always my preference. You know me. I'm not a fancy guy. I wasn't raised fancy.
Wait, you're talking to a fancy lad.
I know he's fancy. I don't even eat seafood. That shows you how fancy I am.
You don't need any seafood.
What would your last meal be if you had to order if you could have anything to eat?
Well, I'd start with an amuse-bouche.
I'd start
No.
with an amuse-bouche. and then
Probably
a little
I'd
fried
probably
lamb.
I don't know, maybe pizza.
I think I'd go with the Adriana's sloppy Giuseppe.
I've never. Yeah, I did have it. That one.
Did you?
We featured it on an
Yeah, we
episode
did
of
on
Three
that.
Lawyers Eating
Remember that?
Sandwich.
I don't
was
remember
Tina.
having it because I know.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
so
I
I
do.
think we
good.
did order.
Oh man. Well, they made it for us special because they don't always have it over there.
She's a very
When they
nice
do.
lady.
Oh, they're
They're
great
the
people.
nicest people.
And that's what gets lost in all of the crazy political discourse that goes on, because so many people you see on TV are jackasses, but so many people you meet in real life are actually quite nice. How do we spend less time looking at the jackasses and spend more time with the people that are actually quite nice.
Change your channel. Watch this show.
You know what? That wouldn't be the worst thing. We're decent people. I mean, we're not perfect. We'll agitate you once in a while, but we mean well.
Yeah, we're not trying to hurt anybody.
No, listen, there's a place for you at my table. I don't care what your background is, what your situation is.
But
I
give
don't
him
care if I
plenty of
disagree
notice.
with you.
Give him plenty of
Yeah,
notice.
I don't have anything to serve because I'm not cooking, but if you want to sit and talk,
Do you cook?
I can. I'm capable. I choose not to because I'm
What's
lazy.
the best
in that.
thing you make?
Well, I mean, you name it, I'll make it for you.
But I mean, do you have a specialty that, let's say you were having a special guest over that you wanted to impress, what would you make?
I don't know. I probably would play it safe.
Tom Wopat calls. He says, "You know, Ed,
I would.
I want to give this another try."
I would probably
Giving
play
this
it.
a lot of thought.
I
As you know, the career isn't going the way I'd hoped. I need a little shot.
need a home
probably.
cooked meal.
I would play it safe. I would probably do some kind of a chicken parmesan. It's very easy, but it's universally comfort food. Most people like it.
When you say that, like you're gonna pound the chicken, bread the cutlets.
Yeah, everything, top to bottom. And I'm glad you start with pounding the chicken. That's the single biggest problem people have when they're making chicken parm. Chicken does not cook evenly if it's all different thicknesses. You have to even out the thickness of it if you're going to cook it correctly in a frying pan without burning it.
Yeah. Do you know people who they can follow a recipe, but they're terrible cooks?
Yeah, well then they're not really following.
I know
the
it's
recipe.
well.
They don't
yeah.
have an instinct for it.
Because I think you can follow a recipe, but then you have to make some slight adjustments sometimes, and it's remarkable how many people cook frequently and just the food isn't good.
When you mean they're tasting the food,
I think you have to taste the food.
and they're saying it needs a little something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not
It's
quite
that
making the right.
choice.
Yeah, because I think what happens, I think there can be a variation in flavors of ingredients that you use. You know, maybe the oregano is a little older.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh,
the salt is saltier.
There's little things too, like they wait for it to cook all the way without realizing that things continue cooking, and that leads to a lot of things getting overcooked. Things are going to continue to cook while they're still sitting in a pan that's
Have you
cooling
ever
off.
tasted a salt substitute? Apparently there are things.
Yeah, there are, but they're usually just a combination of spices.
But in other words,
MSG used to be a big salt.
but a
substitute.
sugar substitute tastes like sugar.
A good one. Like
yeah,
Chuvia.
yeah. I mean, they get you
Sort of tastes like sugar.
very similar. There's nothing I don't think equivalent in salt, right?
What remember Accent? But that was MSG, wasn't it? Remember
I
Accent?
mean, but
You
it didn't.
put it all over your
did
meat.
it make things taste salty?
Yeah, for the most part.
See, I don't. I've
But
never,
it depends. I'm not one of those guys like John Cannon was a salt guy. You know how you know a salt guy? Salt people, they don't even taste their food first. They just start lathering it with salt. And I'm like, how do you know how much to put on if you haven't given it a test? He says he knows, he wants it, and he wants more of it.
If you like, I like salty things. If you like salty things, you like them real salty.
And that's something.
Not that salty.
Well, yeah.
What's your go-to snack? I'm assuming something salty.
I know. I'm more a sweet person for snacks. I really only taste salty and sweet well. So
Do you
I
like sweet and
things.
salty? Oh,
No,
no,
he
you
doesn't.
don't.
I
He
don't
does not
like
like
No,
salty
no,
sweet.
I don't.
Is
like
there something, a snack or a candy that like somebody puts it in front of you?
Ghost. It was the ghost.
That's right.
Joey?
You just can't stop. You'll eat it until it's gone. Every time.
You know those big cookies you can get at the supermarket?
Like the cakes
The cookie cakes, yeah.
Yeah.
With the icing. I can't stop eating.
of all things.
Really?
Also, chocolate cake, like a birthday cake from Schnucks.
Yeah.
With buttercream
Doesn't stand a
icing.
chance.
I just can't stop eating. And
Really?
There's not enough of it. Yeah.
That's how I am with dip. I seem
like
to
dips, too.
when
Any
it comes
particular
to
dip?
any good dip. I mean, honestly, if I'm enjoying it, I'm like a bottomless pit when it comes to dip. I'll just keep burning through it till
When
it's
we
gone.
used to go to Seaside, as you'd arrive, they'd give you a welcome present. And one of the things they gave you was a peach salsa.
I like peach salsa.
It was
You know who's
great.
got good peach salsa?
You know you
It's
can
just
get that
Eckert's.
here.
Eckert's got good peach
you know
salsa.
how you get things that are the same but they're different?
Yeah.
It's
I've never
nice
it's
on the
something
road.
about it.
Well, then they probably sell it mail order and you can get the
I
exact
guess
same.
I could.
Yeah.
I cannot stop with cashews or Doritos.
Oh, those are both really good.
Yeah, it's hard.
Now, when you do Doritos, just classic nacho, or do you
Yeah.
Cool
Wait,
Ranch?
cashews, I know very little about nuts.
You don't like them.
I don't, so I know very
Why
little.
is that?
I don't know. I think maybe I had a
Like
funny
even-
uncle
even
who used to have
pistachios?
me sit in his lap and make me eat cashews.
Oh my God.
How would I know?
What's wrong with you
But
today?
how would you know?
Hey, are you?
I think we might
How
have
would
hit
you
on
know
something.
why you?
Wait,
like
when was the last time you've eaten a cashew?
I don't ever remember eating a cashew.
Oh, really?
I've got some right on my desk.
Good
Somebody
ones?
yeah.
Does it
Tabby
got
Key
does
sent me
it come
some
with
for
a
my
shell
birthday.
on it?
No, there's no
No.
shell on a cashew.
Well, I don't.
They're
You don't know
looking-
what a cashew is?
I know it's a type of nuts, but since I eat no nuts, I don't know.
It's a legume.
Right, but
I know that I like the one with that.
I mean, you don't
Marlon
eat squirrels
Brando.
either, and you know what
Remember
they are.
Marlon Brando in The Freshman?
The walnuts.
Yeah, would crack a walnut.
You know the thing with the walnuts? If you only have one of them in your hand, very hard to crack. The
Oh,
key
really?
is if you just put two of them in there,
Huh.
easy to crack.
Todd Bowen was just in North Carolina in some area where his wife's Dion, who also works here, her family lives. And he sent me a picture. He told me about this before. Did you know that white squirrels exist? What's that? A white squirrel? Really?
Well, that would
yeah, they
be-
just had
I
white
think I have
squirrels.
seen an
but
albino
not
squirrel.
I mean, I've seen an albino squirrel.
Yeah.
I don't think
Maybe
there's-
they're all albino squirrels. I don't
think
know.
So. I don't think there's a.
You know,
a
flying squirrels
species-
exist too. Like actual, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, they
that's the
can't.
thing.
They're more gliding squirrels.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they
they don't have
call 'em
wings.
flying.
Yeah.
They call them.
Yeah, they-
you
yeah.
call
Now, where
'em.
Steph is from in Iowa, I believe it was there, they have black squirrels also.
What?
Here we just got the gray joints.
Is that what you'd call them? Gray? They kind of look like light brown.
The squirrels here, no, they're grayish.
Have you ever heard?
Why
of
aren't we afraid of squirrels? I mean, I grew up, there were squirrels everywhere. Maybe that's why.
Who's
but
afraid
it
of
seems-
squirrels?
Chloe?
No,
you
we're not.
remember- you
That's what
know-
I'm saying. Why
yeah,
aren't
I know
why
what
aren't
you're
we?
going to say.
Yeah, there is some. I don't know if it's.
I don't know if it's
folk
a
wisdom or actual science, but I know I've read that there is some connection between being bitten or scratched by a squirrel and MS. is
yeah.
it?
Yeah.
But why aren't we afraid of squirrels? I noticed.
didn't impress
No,
you.
because
Well,
you know,
because
it's
you're the only. I've heard you
'cause
say
when
this
I'm-
forever.
when I'm walking-
or maybe it was
when I'm
mom.
walking, when I'm walking,
I've never heard it from another
I'm walking
source.
the dog.
You ever heard that from any source, Jen? The connection between a squirrel bite or scratch and developing MS? Never, ever. I've never heard that from anyone other than you and my mother, so I'm convinced that
Well, we heard
you guys
from
made
the
it up.
same source.
Is it just because they're cute? I mean, I guess that's what I'm getting at. Why is it when you're out there, you're mowing the lawn or you're walking the dog, and you know you hear rustling or whatever? So you know the reptile. You wake up, you kind of look,
Is there
and
any
it's a squirrel, and
connection
you
between
immediately
the
oh
bite of a
squirrel.
squirrel and MS?
Like it just doesn't phase you at all. It could be 2 feet from you, and you don't even feel the least bit concerned.
What are you talking about?
A squirrel.
Squirrels? Wait, I thought you just
If
said
that
people
were a
are afraid.
snake. No, I'm saying nobody's afraid of a squirrel. You could
Oh.
you could take a black snake that we know is not harmful, not poisonous, but if it's 2 feet from you, you freak out and you don't want to be anywhere near
Not
it.
me. Not if I know what type of snake it is and know it's not harmful. But the same thing, like I don't like going to a butterfly house. I don't like flying insects. I know they're not going to hurt me, but I don't like them.
I don't mind a butterfly house.
Really? I don't want them flying all over me. You know, Tara, Ed and I met Nikki Glazer last
Oh,
week.
what was she like?
You know,
Very
honestly,
nice.
she was extremely nice, and not that I was surprised at that, but you
Wait,
know,
when did you meet her?
We were at a
we
fundraiser
were at a
about a week or
fundraiser.
so ago.
Oh, wow.
yeah. And she was nice enough to attend, and she was, you know, she was not performing, but she was the draw. Like she was doing it as, you know, to help
Alex
draw
has
attention to the cause.
Somebody knows, somebody's married in that family.
Yeah. You know,
Somebody.
and I'll tell you, I really enjoyed talking to Nikki. I thought she was very nice. I also hung out with her parents who were there.
Yes, me too.
And they were,
Delightful.
I loved them. Yeah.
Delightful people. Well, you know, they're St. Louis people. I mean, they've been living here forever.
She works blue, as they say.
She does.
I
and
think
you know
all
what?
comedians
She's-
do now.
And why not? Listen, that to me just means that she works the real world. And the real world has got some blue in
She's
it.
got a big career.
She's
Oh,
huge.
yeah.
And you
Yeah,
know,
she's-
obviously for a lot of people, this Tom Brady roast was just this tremendous breakthrough for her. But if you had seen her on the Alec Baldwin roast, which I think was her best, the Rob Lowe roast, and the Bruce Willis roast, She is a brilliant
Wait,
roaster.
you saw all those roasts?
Yes, I watch all.
He
Well,
watches-
I am a roast. That is my type of humor. I love a good roast. I go back to the old Dean Martin roast. I like their irreverence. I like that everybody is just forced to take a joke, and if you can't, you
But
shouldn't.
I
now,
never
but now
watch
it's
them.
really groany humor.
Some of it.
It's always had some degree of
but
groan
it's
to it.
really moved that now the most bizarrely horrible thing you can say.
I thought it
about
was
something-
always kind of like that.
No. It was sarcastic, but it's gotten to. I mean, now there's no limit
Well,
to what I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a bad
they
thing.
push the envelope
I find
for
it
sure.
funny. I find it funny.
they
But it's
definitely
really
push
remarkable.
it. She is gifted at it. She lands her punchlines always land. She's
I wonder if she
I
writes
can't-
all her stuff. You think?
I imagine she does. I mean, it's her profession. But you know what? Like a lot of comedians, and we've gotten to meet a lot of comedians, you know, when you meet them in real life, when they're not on stage, they just tend to be very
And
quiet.
even her throwaway lines. Like, I remember she said something, I think Bert Kreischer was there, and she's like, oh, hey, Bert Kreischer's here. Bert, I love your joke.
Yeah.
Because he's got, the machine
What,
story
he,
that.
he was there at this.
It was
at
one
the
of
roast.
the, yeah.
No, that was at the Tom Brady roast. Yeah. No, I think she was prepared
just a
for
good
that line.
line.
But no, she's great. She's
How
very
tall is
funny.
she?
You know what? She is about
5'9"?
Yeah, but you know what? I really
So
thought
she's
I don't know if she
Yeah,
was
she's
wearing
tall,
heels.
but I thought no, she was in flats because that was the thing I said to her. I really thought she was going to tower over me, because she projects very tall
Yeah.
on television. And you know how Sarah Hill, I feel like she towers over
Well,
me.
she does
And-
tower over.
Right, and I thought that was going to be the same.
What is she?
How tall's
5'10",
Sarah?
But when I
5'11"?
she's like 5'9", but she's 5'9", and it's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Sarah.
She's a
But
tall 5'9".
She's a tall 5'9". Like, she's 5'9" with good posture.
Well, there used to be.
I mean,
You
I
never
think
met
Nikki's
a woman.
posture
It
was fine.
but let me tell you, when I
Maybe
was,
she
when I
wasn't
was standing next to her,
5'9".
we took a few pictures together, and when I was standing next to her, she was definitely taller than me, no question. But it wasn't like the obscenely tall that I thought it
Has
was
she
gonna
been
be.
in a movie?
A small supporting part in Trainwreck.
See, that's the
Oh,
thing.
really?
I think that's where. What's her name?
Which one? Amy
In
Schumer?
yeah, that's where she made her.
Oh, you got to make that
She
transition.
elevated to a movie star. Unfortunately, Bert Kreischer. Did you ever see The Machine?
No, I don't watch him.
Oh, well, I mean, we have a family sort of connection. And he had a great opportunity. And at least in my opinion.
He may just
The
not be a movie star.
I don't know. The Machine was just a terrible.
But he's a huge
he's a big
comedian
deal. He's
now.
a big deal.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he got the chance to be a movie star.
He did, and he may get another
and maybe
chance. He
again-
may
You
be
know
what?
big enough.
I know it's in the old days. I could see the appeal of that, but nowadays, if you could be a successful stand-up,
Oh, it's a horrible life.
but no, nowadays I don't think is it as bad. Because
Yeah,
if
they're
you,
on the road.
No, but are you on the road?
Yes.
See, I was talking to Rafe Williams,
Well,
and
wait,
you know
where
Rafe
would
is
you- where would you be
Rafe
a-
is.
but he's making good money as a
But where
stand-up.
would
and
you
he's,
be a stand-up
you
and
know,
not be on the road?
Well, because here's what they do now.
Yeah.
Now what happens is you'll play your local area.
yeah.
And you take your clips and you put them on TikTok, and you wind up putting your best stuff out onto
Yeah.
the social channels,
Right.
and you wind up making your money through your social
Yeah.
channels and not having to
Yes,
hit the
but
road.
that is a
just by watching clips.
You get the clips, you get those platforms pay you based
they
on your
do, but
viewership.
there's a difference. Like, I'm sure Rafe and people like that make a nice living for sure. And
And if
they're
you get a
one of-
Netflix special, they're paying $20 million.
yeah, but- and they're-
But
I don't
how
know
many
about
Netf-
that.
Maybe HBO. I think.
No,
what's
Netflix
it-
pays more for
Yeah,
stand-up
but-
than anybody.
but the
20
people
million
who
bucks they're paying for those
make
specials.
the real money, like Matt Rife, really had a huge online presence.
Who's Matt Rife?
He's a comedian.
huge online comedian.
And he was online, really hit a lot of. The algorithm loved him.
Is
Yeah.
he the
And
good-looking
then,
comedian?
yeah, and he was on what's the Nick Cannon show, Wildin' Out. Thanks. Anyway, so then he went on tour, and that's where you go from making a nice living, which is very impressive, hard to do. The top probably 0.5% of comedians can make a living being a comedian. That's how you go going on tour. Now, Bert Kreischer's probably living in a $10 million house. Like, he's rich.
But he's not living there. He's living on a.
That's right. But to go on tour,
I mean,
that's where you make the
like
money.
Sebastian Maniscalco,
Yeah.
who I guess now, or at least in the last year, was
He's
maybe
had
one
a
of the
few
top
acting parts.
touring.
Yeah,
but he's a
makes
big,
ton of
and he
money
makes
on
a fortune.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about
But
it.
his Netflix specials are probably giving him $20 million.
Let's say
I don't know. I don't know
but
what they
let's
pay.
say you stay at the best places, and let's say you fly private from city to city. You're still,
And you don't do either of those
you're
things, by the way.
Well, I'm probably Sebastian Maniscalco or
No, because
Bertha.
you're in like cities where there isn't.
All I'm saying
even a
is,
nice
you know,
hotel.
you're still staying at a hotel by
Yeah,
yourself.
but you're controlling your own material.
Yeah, but
You're not having to follow anybody else's direction.
But you're
No, but-
alone. You're alone all the time. Your family's.
That's the thing. If
2,000
you're
miles
single, I'm sure
away.
it's great. But I mean,
Yeah,
these
if you
guys
wanna
are on
go
the
and
road
pick
for
up some girl
100
at the
days,
bar,
and imagine
you
how
animal.
imagine how annoying it would get and tiring it would get to go and tell the same jokes, sometimes twice a day, for 200 days a year.
Yeah, but
No,
you know,
wait, not sometimes.
Yeah.
Whenever you go,
Right.
you're doing 2 shows.
I don't know. I think it depends what you're getting out
Well,
of it.
you're a pretty solitary guy.
I am, and I think a lot of
you
it-
would be uniquely qualified.
Well, let's say,
to
but
do
look
this.
at your great stand-ups, the great ones, and you say to yourself, they could have done well in other, like Dave Chappelle. I think would have been a wonderful actor. It would have been a tremendous loss to society if he had not been a stand-up.
I don't know.
Maybe. Why do you think?
I don't know what kind of range
I think
he's got.
I think he's got good range.
He
If you
might.
look at the parts,
He's
first
been
of
in
all,
some movies.
if you watch his stand-up, those are performance pieces.
Well,
That's
his
just
show,
not
I mean, he
stand-up.
was an actor. He had the Chappelle
shows
show,
it, and he shows you,
and he played
He
characters.
shows you, and you have these other people, and take a guy who had a successful movie career like Richard Pryor. I think we paid the price for his movie career because as a movie star, he didn't leave anything behind of any real value to society.
Look at Eddie Murphy.
But his stand-up, he left something. But Eddie Murphy left something of value behind in his movie career because some of those movies will stand the test of time forever.
But don't you feel-
Eddie Murphy's not a stand-up? He's a movie star.
Right, but
And I think they all want to be movie stars.
I don't know that. What about George Carlin? If George Carlin is in my opinion, the greatest stand-up comedian in history in terms of his importance as a stand-up comedian, and he made some movies, but I mean, you can't tell me that he would have preferred being a movie star. He didn't want to go through life reading somebody else's words.
No, but
he had a voice, and that was his platform.
Yeah, but I don't know what he wasn't a good-looking guy. He was
Not a bad-looking guy.
But he would
He was
be
just a guy.
character actor. He wasn't a
be
leading
like
man.
Most actors are character
what's his name?
actors.
Giamatti. Paul,
Paul
the guy?
Giamatti, and he's gotten to be a character actor and a
Yeah,
leading man,
but-
which
but-
is really rare.
But to your original point, it would deprive you of this comedy, and I think that's what happened with Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was the biggest stand-up comedian in the world, and
For
then
a
he
short
became
period of time.
Yeah, but only because he stopped doing it. I don't think he had a stand-up special that flopped. I think he just became an actor and stopped doing stand-up in the same way.
I think in entertainment, in popular entertainment, the end game for everybody is to be a movie star.
Probably.
Yeah, I don't
Have
know.
you watched Eddie
I
Murphy
don't-
Raw
I
or
don't,
Delirious in
yes,
modern times?
Sure. And even if I had, I know those specials by
It
heart.
is shocking how much the world has changed.
Has changed. Yeah, you couldn't do. I mean, well, stand-up comedians don't typically get canceled for their comedy, but if they could, he would have been
Well,
canceled
Dave
for his
Chappelle
comedy.
is doing that kind of edgy stuff.
Oh, go back and watch Raw or
Yeah.
Delirious.
Yeah,
Because he doesn't do it in. It's
He
not
doesn't
always
do
in
it
a funny
intellectually.
way. Yeah.
He doesn't do it with an intellectual bend. He does it
Yeah.
kind of sophomorically, in a way that is
Did you ever
not
see
as.
the?
And sometimes just mean spirited.
Did you ever see the Saturday Night Live clip with Eddie Murphy, or no, Richard Pryor and
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase
Yeah,
with
uh-huh.
the guys
The
giving
word
him a test,
association.
the word association. Oh, you got it.
I'll watch
It's
it.
we can't mention it here. 'Cause
Maybe I've
it
seen
uses the one
It
word
used
that you cannot
every
use.
Pejorative, every bad word for
Every
Yeah.
racial,
And Chevy Chase, they start out with winter and he
Yeah,
says
let's
cold.
not even. You
Yeah,
can
well,
look it up
I've
if you
had
want to
enough.
see
I-
it.
I understand.
Yeah, no, I'm
just saying.
still. I've.
You know what's funny about that? Have you seen?
What, I
and
got a
this-
shot on my penis. That's not a.
Well, why? I
terrible
thought we
thing.
weren't talking about that anymore.
Have you seen this Hawaiian woman? I mentioned her to you a couple weeks ago.
Hawaiian?
Yeah, she's like a Hawaiian grandmother.
Yeah.
She's all over the internet. She's hysterically funny. So she did one of these word association games with her son or her grandson. And so he would say, it made me laugh so hard. He would say, tell me the first word that comes into your mind. And he would say popcorn. And she says, popcorn. And he would say, no, Ma, you got to tell me the word that comes to me. She said, popcorn. You said popcorn? It came right to my mind, popcorn. He goes through a whole list, and every time she does the same thing, and it's funny every time.
She's kind of right.
She's right.
You think
She's
it's
being honest.
You think it's a comedy thing?
It's a bit.
Oh, so you
It's
don't
got to be a
think-
bit.
oh.
This woman's hysterical.
You know-
but she's so authentic. You really do receive it as real.
I feel like we have left it all on the table.
We left
today.
it all. What is it? 7 o'clock at night already?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, folks.
I mean, if you
let's
want to
wrap
keep
it.
going, I don't want
No.
to stop you, but I
Is
feel
this our
like we've,
first two-parter? Maybe it's a two-parter.
we've been going for a long time.
We have been. No,
Do you
let's
want
wrap it.
to? Let me ask you one last question. Do you want to stop?
Yes.
Or do you want to talk about pebbles flying off trucks? Should we open with that next
We'll
time?
open with that next time.
Okay.
Yes, and that's yeah.
All right,
We'll
that's a
save
wrap.
that for next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Saga.